Governor Malabuni should resign based on the judgment or what happened today at the Supreme Court. Let me get your view.
I haven't read the judgment, so I don't think I'm in a good place to talk about it. I've just come out from a meeting, and I heard, there are talks about a Supreme Court judgment where the APC won, and Governor Akeredolu has been affirmed as the duly elected governor of Ondo State. Other than that, I haven't heard or I haven't read the judgment, so I don't know exactly what it contains. So I think it would be unfair for me to make a statement on it.
Okay, so it's about, let me just give you a summary of some of the outcome. It's a case of the argument that a sitting governor should not lead a party in the active leadership of a political party, and that is the basis in which the PDP went to court to challenge the election of Governor Akeredolu. And so that's the premise in which Kayode said May Malabuni should resign as the National Caretaker Committee chairman of the party.
No, I think Kayode is entitled to his opinion, but the constitution of the APC has given the neck of the APC the power to choose or to create to create a committee that will oversee the affairs of any part of the political party. In this case, the NWC, pending the election of a convention that will bring in substantive leaders of the party, and we are well on our way to do that. This was done strictly within the laws. If there is, I'm glad that the judgment didn't go their way, but it's very clear that the NWC has the power to do that, and the neck of the party has the power to do that, and that's exactly what the neck did.
Before I take you into some of the issues thrown up in the wake of the preparations for the World Congresses across the country that will happen on Saturday, some youth in your party yesterday addressed a press conference and said, look, the position of the party in thinking of a consensus candidate ahead of 2023 will not work. And they're saying that it's unconstitutional. You are a national youth leader of your party. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think, a lot of young people have a different, I don't think maybe they don't understand our constitution very well. The constitution has given three ways in which leadership would emerge. One is either through consensus or through elections, or through, affirmation. So consensus, of course, is always an option within the constitution of the party. I totally agree with the fact that where there is anyone who is interested in running for office, that cannot be subsumed. Parties are not made in boardrooms or in the bedroom of somebody. If there is consensus, consensus should be done at the ward level, and consensus should come after people have purchased forms and they have taken this seriously and take it to the word. Of course, the leaders of the party would like to have as minimal as possible any friction or contest that would generate issues and problems at the ward level. But nevertheless, I think consensus is always an option, both within the party structure, both within the constitution of the party. It's something that we support. But we wouldn't want it to be to the exclusion of every other person. We encourage young people to participate in this process. We encourage leaders of the party. We have set up a lobby committee that will encourage leaders of the party to accommodate as many young people as possible within the structures. And where young people feel as if they can go toe-to-toe because they have the right to contest, they should be sold forms The party has made it very clear that nobody should hoard forms. And whenever there's one person that does not agree, consensus means when everybody agrees. If there's one person that says he doesn't agree, there must be an election. So I think it's a fair. But to say that it's an unconstitutional move not to have consensus, it's simply not, it's ignorance of the constitution of the party. But there shouldn't be consensus to the exclusion of other people. That is what would be unacceptable.
Give us an idea of what this lobby committee is all about. What is your agenda?
Well, the agenda behind the lobby committee is to get as many young people in the party structure as possible. We understand that leaders all over the states will sit down and talk about consensus, like you mentioned, or in some cases where they will try and see that they minimize friction at the ward level, so that a lot of people do not come out to contest and there are no court cases after the congresses and stuff like that. So they try, of course, usually to see if they can go into a room, sit down, talk to people, see how they can come to a resolution somehow at the local level, do the balancing, the zoning, this and that. So we want young people to be carried along in that. So we want to meet the influencers at state, zonal level, and local level and talk to them about including young people in that structure. We're not giving them names, but in every ward, there are young people who are party members, dedicated, committed. Those are people you rely on when it is time for election. They should be able to be given opportunity to be leaders in the party at the ward level, local government level, and state level. So the whole idea is so that we can have some sort of an arrangement where young people are being spoken for by other young people who have had opportunities and are privileged to be in different positions, to talk to leaders of the party to accommodate young people. That's the whole idea of the lobby committee that has been endorsed by the president and the leadership of the party.
What's your projection? You're talking about leadership within the party. Are you also looking at perhaps a young president for presidential candidate for your party in 2023?
I'm not going to jump the gun. We are not at the presidential contest yet, but we are trying to see how we can get the APC to be attractive to young people. And that would happen by having them be in the positions of authority within the party structure so that they can churn up young, vibrant people for elective positions, I think is one of the most important things. In this game of politics, there's a lot of accusations, counter-accusations, agendas, counter-agendas, people suspecting other people of doing ABC. If they don't know where you are coming from or the motive behind what you are doing, they make all kinds of assertions and insinuations. This is the game we're in. It's a rough, tough game with people that you think ought to know better or are in a position to know better, but they just go aside and they make all kinds of insinuations when they don't understand what's coming. Our agenda is very clear. We want young people to participate in this process, and we want this party to be owned by young people. We are not oblivious of the fact that the biggest voting bloc of the APC is Muhammadu Buhari as a person. Muhammadu Buhari will not be on the ballot in 2023. And if he's not going to be on the ballot, you need a cachet of young people to come into the party in droves. And that has to be more than just about talk. The party has to demonstrate capacity to welcome young people into it without any fight, without any confrontation, without any agitation. That's why we're saying open your doors. This is an opportunity for us to drag in young people. The INEC just did an online registration the last few weeks. About 1 million people registered. A lot of them are young people. Once you make it convenient for young people to register, once you make it convenient for young people to be part of the process, they are going to participate in this process. So we're saying that the APC as a progressive party looks forward much more than backward. So when the time comes for us to pick a presidential candidate, whether or not that presidential candidate is going to be young or not, we will make sure that young people have a say on who becomes the president, the presidential candidate of the party, and ultimately the president of the country, God willing.
When we talk about young youth, those words are actually they need definition. And on a lighter note, for people like you with gray hair now, I know you're a young person, but so is it young people at heart? or young people indeed? What is the definition of young for the APC?
Well, there's a difference between young and youth. The definition of youth in APC is between the age of 18 to 40. That is the definition of a youth. And that is what we intend to make sure that most of our youth leaders, or all of our youth leaders from the ward level to the national level, are below the age of 40. At the ward level and local government level, we want them to be below the age of 35. At the state and the national level, we want them to be below the age of 40 at the most. That's for youth. Young people can go all the way up to 45 to up to 50. That's being a young person, depending on the circumstances you find yourself. But that's not a definition by the constitution of the party. Usually they bandy it around, but we consider people between the ages of 18 to 45 as young people. We consider the age of 18 to 40 as youth.
Okay, interesting. It's good that you have defined it and how you're working on that. So you said you're hoping and willing to attract young people in droves into your party. But I'm imagining how you hope to do that, considering how Nigerians perceive or receive in your party. I cannot tell because I'm just a journalist who is sitting on the fence and looking at a political journalist looking at the different sides of the divide. But tell Nigerians today, Ismail, does your party have the kind of steam it has in 2015, for example, that won it an election, defeating an incumbent president? Do you think your party has that kind of leverage now?
Well, you see, every administration, every party that comes into power begins the job of defending immediately, because Nigerians are aware that we came in a very difficult situation. We still are in a very difficult situation. We hoped that things should have been better or would have been better by now. We have done incredibly well in so many respects. But of course, we're not saying that everything is fine and that Nigerians shouldn't have any complaints. But the opposition party are not nearly as good as we are. It's very clear. The option that Nigerians have is not anything close to what we have been able to deliver so far in terms of infrastructure and social investments and so many other things. Is there room for improvement? Yes. The party needs to reinvent itself and get in a lot of young people to be part of the thinking process and policies. It is no longer a privilege to give young people opportunity. It has to be a strategy for the development of the party. Young people are getting wiser by the day. They're getting more informed. They're getting more involved. It is very, very important that we understand as a political party, and I know that we do because the leadership of the party always gives me support whenever these issues arise, that whenever these issues come up, we try and move on and try to get young people to be part of the process, because the fight for 2023 is going to be the fight for young people's vote. And if it is going to be a fight for the young people's vote, who better to fight it than young people being in positions of authority across the length and breadth of the country. And I think it is very important that we focus on that. I think it's very important that we focus on that.
And that's the thrust of my question, whether or not Nigerians can trust your party, APC, based on the promises your party made to Nigerians.
Absolutely.
And the delivery that they're getting right now.
Absolutely, they can.
Nigerians getting the best deal that they bargained for when they entrusted their vote into the hands of APC.
Yes, I think Nigerians can trust our party again. I think this president has done well. He has done incredibly well. And I think history will be fair and kind to him. And I think history will be fair and kind to the APC. Have we achieved everything we've set out to achieve? No. One of our biggest thorny issues is the issue of security. We have done incredibly well when it comes to the Northeast, the security in the Northeast. We have been able to tame a lot of insurgency in the Northeast. But it has moved down. It has moved down to the northwest. It has moved down to the north central, and so many parts. It is disheartening. It's something that we're not happy about. It's something that we are trying. I'm sure that the security agencies are trying day in, day out to see that we bring it to an end. But I would also like to see a more vigorous approach by the security agencies in recruiting more people to be part of this manpower, especially the police and so many other formations of the security. And I think we should have more focus on trying to respect people who wear uniforms as opposed to denigrate them. All the tensions moving up and down, I think we need to be able to quell them. People naturally do not trust the government, so we need to do a lot more advocacy, more communication between the government and the governed. Those are things we need to really improve and show people what we are doing, and to be able to make political moves and political statements that would make people at ease. And I think those are things that we need to improve on as a political party, and we are working on it. We are not saying we're perfect, but it's something that we're working on.
Yeah, because I'm wondering how, you speak very eloquently, but I don't know how eloquent you want to pass the communication or message across to the man whose child or mother whose child was kidnapped at the Baptist school in Kaduna, or whose kid was also kidnapped in some part of Zamfara, or the man who, that is trying to put food on the table of their children, whose the cost of food has increased by more than 50% in the last 2 years. How easy would that kind of communication be for those who said they voted for the APC and now this is what they are getting?
Well, you see, for every one attack you hear of, be it by bandit attack or kidnapping or ransom paid, God knows how many else was foiled that you never get to hear of. And I cannot pretend to put myself in a position of a person who is a victim of this crime, because it hasn't happened to me. So I'm not going to sit down here and tell you that it is okay or that they understand the situation we're in. I can only imagine how gut-wrenching and heart-wrenching this could be whenever it happens to anyone. No one could tell you what it means or how it feels to be in this position. But insecurity, it's something that we're dealing with. It's one of the things that that we're really, really worried about. It's a new phenomena, especially the kidnapping and the ransom payments and stuff that we have not envisaged when we are coming into office. It's something I'm sure that the security agents are working day in, day out to make sure that they combat it. But we're not going to sit down and tell you that there's any way you can tell anybody who is a victim of this heinous crime that it is okay, that that is not going to happen again, or what happened to him doesn't matter. It matters. It is a serious
exactly
issue.
My point, Ismail.
And it's something that we're not happy about.
Yeah, I would like you to let's conclude the conversation in just about 60 seconds. Exactly the point I was trying to make, Ismail, and is the fact that your party made a promise to Nigerians. So you said you can do the job, and that's why they signed you on. It's just like a player that you sign on. You pass medicals. You are saying that you can do the play, you can play, you can give them results. That's what your party said you are going to do. You promise Nigerians that you fix security, you fight corruption, you provide food for Nigerians, you fix the economic woes of Nigeria. But for those who are criticizing your party, saying everything that you have told us is in the opposite.
There is no government that would ever come and solve all the problems of a country. But we came in on the premise of so many things we're going to do, which we have been able to achieve, a lot of them. Are we satisfied completely? No. Should we be? Absolutely not. But there are rooms for improvement, like I said. But there will never be a government, not in Nigeria, not anywhere else in the world, that would come and solve every problem. It will not happen. You know, American presidents, day in, day out, talk about immigration policy, something as simple as that. None of them has been able to solve it completely. Or massive shooting that goes on in malls and churches and synagogues. Have they been able to stop it? No. So you can't solve all problems. Because if there will be a time that the government will solve all problems, then there probably will be a time that there will be no need for any government.
All right.
But the question is, have we been able to deliver on some of the key points which we could be able to deliver? Yes. Like I told you, and I'll admit it, I'll be the first person to admit, I'm from the Northwest, you know, and I know what it is to not to be able to apply certain roads in the Northwest.
Right.
It is incredibly heart-wrenching. And I'm part of this government, and I'm proud of it. But these are issues that we have to deal with, and we're making improvements upon them. But the security agencies are doing their best. Nigerians should give them all the support that they can. We should be able to have local intel, and the security agents and government should be able to recruit more manpower.
Thank you so much for your time. The national youth leader of the APC, Ismail Ahmed. Thank you so much for your time tonight.